we start to speak about design, since we are designer, okay? Finally. And what is this to design this sustainable product service system? And then if we apply this to distributed economy. So the title of this lecture is System Design for Sustainability for All. This is the way, a short way in which we start to call this new emerging discipline, which is in fact the design of sustainable product service system applied to distributed economy. So I will tell about system design for sustainability in general at the beginning. So what are the approaches and skills and so on. I will tell what are the sustainability criteria in environmental and socio-ethical terms. You actually saw those yesterday described very briefly by Elisa through some case study. I should have introduced them the other day, but we had to cut, so we couldn't do that. So here I will just remind you those case studies. Something about the fact that we have to give priority when we design, even in relation to sustainability, and how we are doing this. And finally, after understanding what is system design for sustainability, what are the implications when we apply this system design for sustainability to a particular artifact, which is a distributed economy. So, you all know that sustainable product service system is a win-win opportunity for sustainability, the three pillars: environmental, socio-ethical, and economical. And we understood that this is given by this paradigm shift. This is the third time that you see this graph, so that we move from selling product to selling unit of satisfaction. But this is good to remember now, okay? And moving from an innovation that is not just or at the beginning technical and technological, but is an innovation in terms of stakeholder interaction, or better still, stakeholder configuration. And a customer value that moves from mere or only product ownership to the access to products or any other enabling platform that give us some satisfaction. and this is the reason why we are working and lecturing and studying all these things, is that this has a win-win potential. So it's able to decouple the economic interest from environmental impact increase and extend the access to goods and services for low and middle income context, or improving equity and cohesion. Said this, but we have to bear this in mind, because this is actually the framework to which we have to refer when we have to apply our new approaches, skills, and then even tools. So, which are the new approaches and skills for a designer compared to a traditional product design? Actually, the first one here, I make the thing schematic. Of course, this course could be more complex, but this is for the sake of a better understanding. Okay. So we have a first approach, which we call a satisfaction system approach, in which the designer has to be able to design a particular demand of satisfaction, what we call a unit of satisfaction. You remember, we speak about having clean clothes, but one could even say having clean clothes at my home place, or having clean clothes at the Politecnico di Milano University. And so on. And given that, all its related product and services. When we speak about the satisfaction system approach, so design a satisfaction or a satisfaction unit, what is this? Is that there is not only a single product or process that need to be designed, but all the product and all the services that actually are all together able to satisfy that specific unit of satisfaction. All right? So we have to design all of this mix of products and services. In this sense, a unit of satisfaction has to be defined. We have been some discussion, and Aguinaldo was discussing with you in terms of did you really understand what is the satisfaction you have to design? Because when this is defined, you understand in relation to this satisfaction what could be delivered to achieve this satisfaction, okay? And here I make, for those that are aware about life cycle design and life cycle assessment, usually we speak about the functional unit, okay? So a functional unit for a car, we take an example of a car, could be the transportation of one person per 1 kilometer, okay? And so we can compare a car with a bicycle, with a public transportation means, and so on. And if we move to to a satisfaction unit, actually we have to argue what is possible. So we are not looking to a product, but to a product service system. What is possible with a car? With a car are possible even different type of satisfaction. Satisfaction one person may have access to a working place for 1 year. So we can define this as the satisfaction. Or a satisfaction two, one person having access to public services, delivering personal document per 1 year, and so on. So the functional unit related to a car is that when we move up to a product service system, so to a system innovation level, we have to define this in a different way, and in which a car may have a different function. And actually, and we can have even other, and this could be achieved actually with even very different type of product and services. Okay, maybe a car even disappear in a functional unit. Thinking about the mobility, the car, maybe the car will change totally with a given function. If we think about receiving, getting some document by the municipality about the state of my family, or I don't know, whatever it is, a car maybe is not needed at all. There may be other product services that can have to be more clear, and may get a document directly by internet without the need of having a card to go there. Of course, I made a very clear and very simple example, right? So I'm not going into this, but this is to specify these kind of things. So at the end, the satisfaction unit require an approach that is at the same time deeper, because when we think about a given unit of satisfaction, I want to get one document from that place. It could be, well, you can define the satisfaction unit even larger or smaller, but just to be, it goes deeper because actually it's not just a car that moves, but you have to take into consideration even other stakeholders that are there in front. After you get to that place, maybe you have to go to ask for the document that you are required. You have to be in line. Something is happening, and before you have to make some application for doing this and so on. So actually, it is going in this sense deeper the satisfaction. So more products and more services in this sense could be considered. And it's even more narrow in a sense. So we are narrowing one. With a car, we can do maybe more things. When we think about one satisfaction, we are narrowing what we are designing for. Okay? Again, this is a general principle that it depends what you are designing. If you will describe what you will be, or you said something, what you will be designing for, or for the design exercise will be about, again, food, with Sandra will tell you later in a given context and so on. And a satisfaction unit as the functional unit for those experts in life cycle assessment and life cycle design has even a definition is a quantified satisfaction of a customer defining all products and services associated with its fulfillment used as a reference unit to design and to evaluate the sustainability, impact, and benefit, and so on. Okay, this is, so you define a unit of satisfaction. This helps either to design. And then, of course, when you are designing this, as in any cases, the satisfaction unit can be enlarged, can be restricted, and so on. But this is another story that we will experience during the design exercise. This is the first approach and skill. The second one is that we have to have, as an approach, a stakeholder configuration approach. So which are the new skills? We have to be able to design the configuration of the actor, of the system, the stakeholder, the user, the producer, the municipality, some NGO if they're inside, I don't know. We have to be able to design this. To give you an example, and are you familiar with system map? Yes, more or less. Some, yeah, okay. By the way, this is for those that are not that familiar, when I have to say what you have to design, is this, in a sense. You design the configuration of the stakeholder. And sometimes I usually make a comparison with an exploded view of a product. If I take this laptop, if I make the exploded view, I will say the upper part, the lower part, the internal, the joining elements, and so on. So I have different components with their characteristic and the joining elements. On a system level, the components are the stakeholder, one actor, the school, the students, that producer with some characteristic, okay? And the joining elements, what are the interaction. And the interaction could be information flow, financial flow, labor flow, material flow, and so on. Okay? So this is actually what we are designing. And even up to this, as we are doing when we are designing a product, we have to use our capability as designer, creativity, to be able to get out of the business as usual. We have to use all our, background and what we have learned, though on a system level, on a product level or interface level, up to a system level. So we can be very creative in imagining whoever actor could be there inside and what this actor could be doing and who could, and in which way it could be interacting with the other and so on. So this means that this is a new capability that the designer or system designer is asked for. The last one is a system sustainability approach. I didn't have the time to say the other in the other lecture because I had to cut, but not all PSS, as not all distributed economy are sustainable. A mobile phone that you buy actually could be a product-oriented PSS because you buy the mobile phone together with the service of, they offer you the service of the contract, but even the service of paying, come si dice? You pay a little in 2 years. come si dice?
Pay back in 2 years.
Yes, pay back in 2 years. So you pay €1 every month. So this is a financial service that is offered for you to acquire the product. But this is whatever, it's an SPSS, but it's whatever, but not sustainable. We know how many mobile phones are actually, they don't last nothing. They are quite polluting in terms of what they have inside and blah, blah. They are not designed to be easily disassembled, everything. The worst we can say about is there, all right? Okay, so even when designing SPSS or PSS, we need to know how to address the stakeholder configuration in that direction that make the overall offer to be promising, as the cases that Elisa and I show, promising in terms of environmental and socio-ethical sustainability. And so, I've said this, so not all PSS are sustainable, so we need criteria, guidelines, and so on. And here is, again, at the end, a definition to say what is the role of a system designer for sustainability is to design the system of products and services that are together able to fulfill a unit, a particular demand of the customer, a unit of satisfaction, based on an innovative interaction of the stakeholder, and such an innovation that for economic and competitive reason foster or lead towards environmentally and socio-ethically beneficial new solution. Okay, so this is again, you know, if we have to make into a synthesis what we have to do and putting all the main elements there is inside, this is the definition of this new role. And what are the criteria of to orientate product service system towards environmentally sustainable solution or eco-efficient solution, so solutions that are at the same time environmentally and economically sustainable? We saw those together with Elisa the other day, and these are system life optimization, so to design that all of the system of the that are part of the product last long or they are intensively used. Transportation and distribution reduction. Resource reduction, either they are material or energy reduction. Waste minimization and valorization, so reduce, but even recycle or energy recovery and so on. Conservation biocompatibility, either is a material or an energy resource, so renewable, but even biodegradable and so on. And toxicity reduction. These are the 6 criteria. And we have organized this, and this has been adopted within the Lenses project, because you will find, you know, the environmental sustainability could be quite a complex issue. So sometimes you have to come up to some kind of simplification and then maybe going back to the solution so that your reasoning, your design reasoning could be organized. If not, you're lost in the mess of, oh my God, sustainability is so huge, I don't know where to move from. So the seek of that is not, it's a simplification that help achieve a process of design, in this case that help you to go towards sustainable solution. And for each of the 6 criteria, as you saw, though they were not described by Elisa, but you will be, you will be using, there is a set of guidelines. And these guidelines are not on the level of the product. I will show you here one example. Here, I don't know whether you will be using a paper format or an online tool that we have. But for each of the criteria, you have an idea table. You brainstorm on how to extend the life of all the products of the system. You can click and have example. They are the same example that you find online. They are on the tool. And you have some guidelines. But the guidelines are not on the system, on the product level. you find some guidelines like complement product or infrastructure with services for the maintenance, repairability, and so on. So this is in relation to what you are designing. You have to think, could I complement the offer of this product with some services for, I'm not speaking about joining elements to be easy disassembled so that it's easy to recycle this material that is different from the other and so on. So they are all guidelines on the level of stakeholder interaction, all promising in relation to system life optimization. You will find another set for resource reduction and so on. And for some of those, you have a linkage to an example. So you can go to look at the example, have further inspiration, then you brainstorm and you generate idea and so on. But this will be described later. We have, no, I just, because that was there, I have to say a few things more. If not, it was not understandable. The 6 criteria that we have defined, it is improve employment and working condition for the socio-ethical dimension, increase equity and justice in relation to stakeholder, enable responsible and sustainable consumption, favor and integrate weak and marginalized, improve social cohesion, and empower and enhance local resources. Okay, so for each of those, as you saw the other time, you have a set of guidelines that may help you. In this case, if you are using this idea generation table to start up to have some idea for the concept you have to develop, so you have a set of guidelines for each of the criteria, and you have a link to go to see some example, again, to be inspired and to have some idea. Something that is important, though you won't be working on the design exercise in this case, is that is many times is important as for when you are designing a product, for example, to understand which of the criteria or the strategies is more important. Is more important to reduce resources consumption or to valorize the waste? Many times, I don't know, Sandra, when I meet some company, they just think we have to solve the problem of waste. They don't get, so we have to make this assembly. They don't get the problem that maybe they have a refrigerator in which the most impacting phase or what they have to concentrate is in design for resource conservation, or so they have to define something. So it's key important in relation to the 6 criteria, either they are environmental or socio-ethical, to identify priority, because then this can guide you in the design process to identify, to have more attention to that criteria related to other, or maybe if you have conflicting idea or concept, to select one compared to the other. And so for this, we have, but you will not be using this, I think. We have, within the tool, we have a checklist system, so a qualitative system. It's not like a life cycle assessment, it's just with some question related to the guideline. So now I'm the final chapter of this presentation. Basically, I said everything I had to say, okay? So, no, no, unluckily for you, I have to still to say something even tomorrow. Now, but why I'm saying this? Because when I said that this is basically the approach and the new skill of a system designer for sustainability, and I hope that you get a bit the point, okay? Then you will practice, but you get a bit the point. What I'm saying now is that now we system design for sustainability when what we have to design is a distributed economy. So it's not that everything is changing, simply what we have to design. So the artifact we have to design is changing, but the approaches and the things are basically the same. So in fact, and this is what actually with all the colleagues are working, we are taking all the knowledge base and the know-how that has been developed so far. The first research was from 2000, the beginning of 2000, working on knowledge base and know-how, method and tools on product service system design for sustainability. So we have been working on taking those and well, updating, but even adapting to a distributed economy, which is a different animal we have to work with, we have to design for, okay? So this is what we have been working. So this is nothing new. It's simply that we have a satisfaction system approach. You have to be able to design the stakeholder configuration, but when there is 1, 2, 3, 4 type of distributed economy and their hardware there inside, okay? Stakeholder configuration approach, the same. You have to design the, or maybe I said something wrong. You have to design the satisfaction unit. You have to design the stakeholder configuration in relation to the distributed economy. I mixed it up. I said satisfaction unit. No, you were not listening to me. No, I'm joking. So since I have to re-record this, I start this again. Stop. See. So the I start to get tired, me too. So the approach is on system design for sustainability for all. So when we are designing sustainable product service system applied to the are basically the same as when we are designing sustainable product service system. So the first one is a satisfaction system approach. We have to design in relation to a given satisfaction unit, but that is related to 1, 2, 3, 4 different type of distributed economy, okay? We have a stakeholder configuration approach. Again, you have to be able to design the stakeholder configuration, but again, the artifact or the artifacts we have to deal with are those related to distributed economy. And finally, we understood that both SPSS and DA, they are not per se sustainable. We have to define such a stakeholder interaction that leads our sustainable product service system applied to DA either environmentally, socio-ethically, and of course, economically sustainable. And in relation to this, in fact, and those were presented the other day together with the example by Elisa, we developed even some guidelines that could be used even for brainstorming, complement the hardware with lifecycle services. Actually, this is linked to the first type of PSS, product-oriented, offer ownerless DA system enabling platform, the second type of PSS, offer ownerless DA system with full service, the third type of PSS, optimize stakeholder configuration, which is key important, the link payment from hardware purchase. You know, the type of payment was, you understood, important, and we had a discussion when you presented this, and optimize the DA structure, as we saw that there could be different type of DA structure, and we don't know exactly in relation to each system which is the best performing structure. To complete this presentation, and I promise this is the last slide, when speaking about low and middle income context, many times we are speaking about appropriate technology, and I'm not saying that this is not bad. This is correct, fair, nothing to say against this. What I think it is interesting, and we want to add, and we are adding when we are working on a SPSS level, is that actually we are moving even to an appropriate stakeholder configuration level. So not only a technology, not only appropriate technology, but even appropriate configuration of stakeholders. Because this makes the system to be sustainable. And maybe we understand that some technology that we think that could be appropriate could be different if the system is organized in a different way or something like this. I don't know exactly. Then they have to be appropriate as well. But what we want to add is even this. Thank you very much for the attention, and this is really the last. Thank you.